time since I made a video for this academic life. I have been busy with academia because it is my life. I've been writing my comprehensive exams, and that's taken up a lot of time. So I've been doing that, and it's been the summer. And I haven't really felt like I wanted to talk actually about academia because the truth of the matter is I'm really struggling a lot with where I fit in, what my future is in the field, and how I'm going to manage the last couple years of my program. So I've been in my PhD program since January of 2010, which means that I'm almost coming up to 3 completed years of doctoral study. I'm at the point in my program where I'm worrying about a couple of things now. On the one hand, I'm starting to think about actually writing the dissertation, what's going to be involved in that. I've never written a huge major project before. I did a coursework master's, and so I've never written anything that's more than, say, 30 pages. So the idea of writing a big, long, sustained argument is kind of terrifying for me. So there's that. I'm also still trying to figure out my comprehensive exams. I'm probably going to have to rewrite one of them because one of them didn't pass. There's a lot of stress in that, a lot of feelings of not quite feeling worthy, not quite feeling good enough, and so on. And then there's also the fact that if I want to stay in academia past my degree, now's the time where I really start having to think about publishing and the job market and having all of the stuff in my teaching portfolio but also on my CV to make me ready for the market. Now, in a lot of ways I've decided that I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to continue in academia because I have a lot of problems with the way that the system is run. I feel in some ways that the human has been taken out of the humanities. There are a lot of different political issues that I'm not really comfortable with, and I'll get into that probably in another video. But there's that fear that's starting to take over, that constant, well, I only have one publication and I need a couple more, and I haven't gotten federal funding ever. I'm applying for a doctoral shirk for the 5th time. 5. That's a lot of times to be applying for the same type of funding and not getting it can really start to play some mind games with you for sure. Even though I know I've made a previous video about funding and taking things personally, I'm human. So I'm bound to fall into those traps sometimes. Yeah, and so there's just a lot going on in my life right now with regards to academia. That means that I'm feeling very overwhelmed, and I'm feeling like, is it worth it? Should I finish my degree? I want to talk, today what I do want to talk about is a little bit about idealism and how things might change as you go through your degree. Now, I went into my master's straight from my BA, and then I went into my PhD straight from my MA, and my MA only lasted just over a year. So really I've been in post-secondary for 8 years and in my PhD for 3 years. So going straight through, obviously you're doing the same kind of work semester after semester, and that takes its toll. But I also haven't had a lot of other life experiences. I mean, I've had life experiences, but I haven't had time out in the working world, is basically what I mean. I'm also quite young. I'm 25, so I've kind of been in this academic mode for a very long time. I was recruited into the honors program for my BA a number of years ago. And at that time, I really felt like someone in the department had noticed me and that I had potential, and was starting to get really good feedback for my work and feeling like, okay, maybe I have a chance of making this work. I could be an academic, I can be a professor, and I was really naive in some ways about what that meant. Then I went into my MA straight after doing my honors degree, and I started having to do PhD applications in the first semester of my MA. And again, was still a little bit naive and not quite sure what graduate school was all about, and had to make that decision. Was I going to apply for it right away or not? And I did. And I was lucky. I got into the school that I wanted to get into, and I was really excited about it. But then in the past 3 years, as I've learned more about what it actually means to be a professor, what it means to be a graduate student, what the realities of the job market are, what the, some of the political conflicts that are going on with regards to the humanities, the ways in which certain universities function like corporations rather than institutions that are really about education. There are a lot of realities that I didn't know about, and I don't think I could have been expected to know about. I didn't realize, for instance, that the process of, excuse me, of achieving tenure is an 8-year-long process that involves a lot of, constant checks and balances. And are you publishing enough? Are you teaching enough? Are you supervising enough? Which isn't to say that I'm averse to hard work. I realize that in any career that anyone goes into, there are different, steps that you have to go through in order to get to a senior position. But it's very, very difficult to do that in the humanities, especially since there aren't as many jobs necessarily as we would like. We know for a fact that the market is sort of oversaturated with a lot of graduates. And what do we do? How do we feel like what we're doing has meaning? How do we feel like it has worth? And what are we going to do afterwards? I think the important thing to realize, especially in later parts of the program, when you're getting to think about the job market, is to talk to your friends, talk to your colleagues, talk to your mentors, and also start to have another plan. Now, I'm lucky in that I had always considered going into teaching high school. I come from a family of teachers, and I'd also considered going into counseling psychology because trauma is a huge part of what I study. But I'm still terrified in some ways because that means I'm going to have to go get other education in order to get to those places rather than rely on the 4 or 5 years of study that I'll have had in my PhD. So I wanted to basically just, make a video that recognizes that there are extreme pressures that come especially with later work in the program, and that I think we need to be prepared for them, which means that we need to talk about them more. I think that departments owe their students the truth about the job market, to give numbers about placements, to have sessions on alternative academic positions, or have ways of linking students up with people maybe who are working in alternative careers, who are maybe working in public policy or arts administration and so on and so forth. There are a lot of alumni mentorship programs for undergraduate students, for instance, but there aren't necessarily those types of things in place for graduate students. I also think that it's important that we be honest and talk about the very real stresses of money. Seeking funding for a 5th year of graduate study is something that causes real stress for a lot of students who are in their 3rd and 4th years. And that's the reality. Having to apply for other funding in a 5th year, maybe not getting it, means that people might have to start seeking other employment, and then that might slow down their progress in the dissertation and so on and so forth. So it's a very difficult place to be in. I'm not saying that it's, more traumatic or more difficult than being starting off in graduate school, starting an MA or starting a PhD, but it has its very particular stresses. So just to be realistic about it, to talk with colleagues. And I kind of, joke a little bit that, I want to tell all these incoming doctoral students and master's students about the reality of, academia. But really, I think it's important because a lot of us go through that moment where our naivete or our illusions about what it really means to be in the academy are shattered. And that can be really devastating, and that can really provoke a kind of a life crisis and an identity crisis. Because if you've believed for many years, as I did, that being in the academy is an idealized, perfect place where you just get to, read about books that you love and work with people who are super great and super happy all the time, and it's all of your best friends. That's not the reality of it. It has politics as any other workplace does. So that's just a quick video. I know it's kind of all over the place. I'm going to be making some more videos about teaching, actually, because teaching is the part of the graduate work that I love the most. I adore teaching. It's my favorite part, I have to say, and so I want to make some videos about that. So just a little bit of a reality check from me, and me being honest about the realities that I'm facing at this point in my degree. I hope that being open and honest is helpful. I'm totally happy to take questions. If you have any requests for other videos, I'm happy to do that too. Alright everyone, so I'll talk to you later. Bye.